Và thưa quý vị, tiếp theo sẽ là thời lượng dành cho chuyên mục Cuộc sống thông minh, và trong chuyên mục lần này chúng tôi sẽ giới thiệu cho tất cả quý vị những sáng kiến tiên phong về chăm sóc sức khỏe cho người Việt Nam. Mời quý vị sẽ cùng theo dõi.
Hạnh xin kính chào quý vị, chào mừng quý vị đến với chuyên mục Cuộc sống thông minh trên kênh truyền hình FBNC, chuỗi chủ đề về tư vấn sức khỏe. Quý vị thân mến, Family Medical Practice là chuỗi phòng khám đa khoa đã có gần 30 năm hoạt động tại Việt Nam với đội ngũ chuyên gia bác sĩ trong và ngoài nước giàu chuyên môn và kinh nghiệm. Ngày hôm nay chúng tôi có dịp gặp gỡ và trò chuyện cùng với bác sĩ Rafi là CEO của Family Medical Practice để cùng lắng nghe về tâm huyết cũng như là nhiệm vụ phòng khám chữa bệnh của Family Medical Practice tại Việt Nam. Mời quý vị cùng theo dõi.
Dr. Rafi, it's good to have you here. So I've learned that Family Medical Practice has nearly 30 years of operation in Vietnam. So can you share with us what is the mission? What is the mission of Family Medical Practice?
I opened the whole operation, and it was Vietnam was just beginning to wake up, đói môi. So family medicine was, general medicine was the call of the day. But as we grew and as the population grew, the demands grew, and we are everything but a general place. We are specialized in children, internal medicine, orthopedics. With the development of Vietnam, we developed. Development of Vietnam in those years was so fast that we were, and I think we suffer even today from this, is that we are always on the response rather than the initiative. Because the demand is so high that actually we try to satisfy the population, and we don't have the time to move ahead and initiate. And that's, I think it's a problem for many companies which are successful in Vietnam, that they respond all the time rather than have the ability to go macro, move ahead, leap ahead, and initiate rather than be on the response. It's true that initiating takes time because you have to build the whole product and program. And to respond is much easier because, okay, you want, and I supply. But for me to understand what you will want, oh, that's a different story. So our mission is basically to bring better healthcare, innovative healthcare to this country in terms of reducing morbidity, in terms of increasing the role of primary and secondary care. I don't think there's primary care in Vietnam, really. The primary care in Vietnam, unfortunately, is in the pharmacies. People go to the pharmacy and they get the medicine and they go home. So we actually moved up to, we are pushed up to the secondary care. And the hospitals are coming after that. So we dub between a little county hospital and a big clinic. And that's how we operate. So we operate emergencies, we operate other projects. The emergency project, 999, for instance, which later maybe we'll talk about, is an initiative. Is a response, but also initiative. Right. So there you go.
So what are the factors that you think enable you and Family Medical Practice to work towards the mission?
I think it's leadership of the teams I run. I think there's the understanding of what we need. I think it's the undoubtful issue of quality of care, and this is something that is not negotiable. The quality of care, it has to be the same in all the centers, 24/7 available through the year. And I think when you have a team that understands that and its role and is motivated, I think you can move pretty much.
So you mentioned Star 9999 earlier. I understand it's one of the key services that you offer here. So let's talk about it for a bit. But first of all, can you share your thoughts on the emergency ambulance service situation in Vietnam?
I think there's emergency. I think there's ambulances, but there's no emergency ambulances. So the emergencies exist. And I think that one of the problems of the system is that the ambulance in Vietnam, as in other countries, by the way, in Asia, is perceived as a transporter. In other words, we bring the patient from home to the hospital or from the hospital home, or we transfer the patient. There's no work in the car itself. Many times people come and ask me, and I love this question, so how long does it take you, in the traffic of Saigon for instance, to move the patient from the event to the hospital? Oh my God, you don't understand. The treatment starts in the car already. Right. And that is the problem. To educate the population, if you call, we will be there in 8 minutes. We will be there. Just hold on. So.
That's actually a very good thing, actually. So can you share more? How does star 9999 help improve the situation? How does it help the healthcare trauma service in Vietnam?
Star 99 basically is operating on 2 levels. One is the cars with the teams, and the cars are Western cars. They are big, large US ambulances, so you can work in them. You can operate in them. So that's on the delivery side. But that's not the picture. That is technical. The big story is moving the patient, from home or getting to him, explaining what to do until the car comes. And for that you have a call center. You have an algorithm with a very clever system which has every possible emergency in it. And by answering few questions, the system will decide automatically, autonomically, AI, to dispatch the car. Maybe you don't need a car. And maybe someone else will need a car in 5 minutes and I don't have a car. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, because it's a big city, and again AI, a system which actually moves the car around the city, never in one place in a station, which actually shortens the distance of reaction from the car physically to where the event might be. And that is a very interesting software which is based on a casino gambling software, trying to predict the right situation, and it's been modified into events. Where do we position the cars? So you can do with fewer cars much more efficiently than with a bigger fleet of cars, which stands in one place and is being dispatched from that place out. It's done today in many countries. In many countries there's also not only cars, there's also motorbikes, which is also a possibility. But the motorbikes actually is the first responder, which comes in, stabilizes and waits for the ambulance. A motorbike is not instead of an ambulance. So that is where we are. There are 52 countries using this software. It's called ProQA. Vietnam is one of them. London Metropolitan Police is using this system. The system is built from police, fire, and healthcare. We have only the healthcare part, the ambulance part. And obviously we are audited every 6 months by the Americans. So the team is audited and it keeps its accreditation because obviously, you deal with life, so you need to know what to do.
You've been working here and living here for more than 30 years already. Do you find any challenges in working with Vietnamese patients at all?
I think the Vietnamese patient is, I think it all starts basically, the Vietnamese patient knows healthcare, but the Vietnamese patient also knows his budget. And the budget inhibits proper healthcare. Now, if you ask in other countries, in big countries, there's an insurance, not a state insurance, a real private big insurance companies. These are the economic catapult who pay for tests. Not like companies, some insurance in Vietnam, which pay for only the bad results. And for the good results, I'm not going to pay. Now, if we go to prevention of disease, obviously I'm looking for good results. So who's going to pay for that? If everything is good, nobody will pay. And that is out of pocket. I think that Vietnam has to look, to say that we have a state insurance, that's all very nice. But I think not only to make a V on the wall, but I think a quality of the insurance, the quality, what it contains, is most important. And the problem is that all these insurances only contain one thing: inpatients. Really, when it's catastrophic, when it's in the last minute. Very little is put on outpatient, on prevention. Because what is hospitalization? It's a failure of the primary care to kick in. You ended in hospital. Where is the buffer zone? And that buffer zone, till now, in the last 30 years, in my opinion, is too thin and too weak.
Do you have any other words that you would like to share with the...
Well, I can say that, you know, one of the things that I have started now, and I think Vietnam is going to be one of the 5 or 6 countries in the world that will do it, is the new next generation sequencing clinic, where we are going to go on genetics of lung cancer, only lung cancer, which is killer number 1 in Vietnam. And we are going to actually, in 24 hours from a liquid biopsy, which means a blood test, we will be able to tell the oncologist which genetic immune medication to use to stop the growth. Wow. No more chemotherapy. Wow. And we can do it in 24 hours. We'll be able to do it here. And the idea is to create that center to be a center that will also bring blood tubes from overseas. It's going to take a long time till people will be able to travel. Sure. But blood tubes can travel. That's not people. We'll move blood tubes, it's except of people. Screen them, do the tests here, and send them out. So if we want to talk the talks about being a hub, a medical hub for the region, forget the hospitals. We can't be a medical hub medically. But we have other qualities which we can exploit. Laboratories, high tech, these kinds of things. So that's what I'm building now. Hopefully in April, May, it will be ready. And also Vietnamese lung cancer patients will be able to benefit from it and know what medications to use and prolong their life. Don't forget that lung cancer is the killer number 1 in cancers among men worldwide. And Vietnam has no copyright and no monopoly. It is the same as every other country. So there you go.
Thank you for the information.
You're very welcome.
Thanks a lot for today, Dr. Rafi.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
Thưa quý vị, chúng ta vừa gặp gỡ và trò chuyện với bác sĩ Rafi, là CEO của Family Medical Practice, là chuỗi phòng khám đa khoa tại Việt Nam, để lắng nghe câu chuyện về việc phòng khám chữa bệnh của đội ngũ bác sĩ và chuyên gia ở đây. Cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chuyên mục tiếp theo.